At the wedding reception table, she introduced me as just a friend. I looked her in the eye, smiled, and said 4 words that changed everything. What happened in the next few minutes left everyone speechless. But that was only the beginning. Some mistakes cost you everything. My name's Gerald Crawford. Friends call me Jerry. I'm 57 years old, and until recently, I ran Crawford & Sons Construction in Akron, Ohio. Good business, 20 employees, the kind of outfit that's been putting food on tables for 15 years. I had a wife, Dorothy, who ran an online jewelry business selling handmade stuff on Etsy. We'd been together for 4 years, married for 3. She had 2 kids from a previous relationship, Carol, 11, and Dale, 14. I had my own son, Russell, 23, fresh out of college and working construction during summers. The thing about second marriages is you go in thinking you've learned from your mistakes. You're older, wiser, more careful. You watch for red flags. You communicate better. You build something solid. Dorothy and I bought a house in Cuyahoga Falls. Nothing fancy, but solid. 4 bedrooms, decent yard, close to good schools for her kids. I helped her launch that jewelry business. Spotted her $35,000 to buy equipment, materials, the whole setup. She said it was a loan. I said it was an investment in our future. No paperwork, just trust. Saturday, September 21st. Her cousin's wedding at some boutique venue 2 hours south near Canton. Beautiful place, all rolling hills and late summer sun. Dorothy spent the morning getting ready, hair appointment, makeup, the full production. I ironed my navy suit, polished my shoes, played the part. We drove down together in her Honda, talking about nothing important. The weather, whether Dale needed new cleats for football. She seemed fine, happy even. Laughed at my jokes, touched my arm when I made a turn. No tension, no distance, just us heading to a family event like any normal couple. We pulled into the gravel lot around 3:30. The ceremony wasn't until 4 o'clock, but Dorothy wanted to help her cousin with last-minute details. I grabbed the gift from the back seat, a silver picture frame we'd picked out together, and we walked toward the main building. Stone archways, ivy climbing the walls, white chairs arranged in perfect rows near a gazebo, the kind of place that charges extra just for existing. That's when I saw the reception table near the entrance. White linen, guest book, a woman with a clipboard and a smile that looked professionally installed. Mid-50s, pearls, the kind of coordinator who's seen it all and judges everyone. She looked up as we approached, pen ready. "Names, please," she said. Dorothy signed the book with that looping handwriting of hers. "Dorothy Crawford," my wife said. The woman glanced at me, eyebrows raised in polite question. "And who's this?" I waited for Dorothy to introduce me, husband, partner, Gerald, anything. Instead, she smiled that little party smile, the one you give strangers when you want to keep things light, and said, "Oh, he's just a friend, just a friend." The words landed between us like a stone dropped in still water. I felt something shift in my chest, something cold and final. I looked at her, waiting for the correction, the laugh, the "I'm kidding, honey." But she'd already turned back to the woman, pointing at something on the seating chart. I didn't yell, didn't make a scene. I just smiled, slow and deliberate, and said loud enough for everyone within 10 feet to hear, "Actually, I'm just an ex." Then I turned and walked away. I heard her voice behind me, sharp and sudden. "Jerry, wait!" I didn't wait. I walked past the rows of white chairs, past the string quartet warming up, past the bar where they were setting out champagne flutes. My shoes crunched on the gravel path, steady and even, and I didn't look back once. The parking lot felt like a football field, stretched out and endless, but I made it to my truck, the F-150 I'd driven separately because Dorothy said we might need 2 cars for errands later. Good thing I had it. I climbed in, started the engine, and pulled out onto the county road. My hands were steady on the wheel. My breathing was normal. I felt calm in a way that probably should have scared me, but didn't. It was the calm of a man who'd just watched the last piece of a puzzle fall into place and finally understood the whole picture. About 10 minutes after I left, my phone started buzzing. Text after text. Dorothy, her mom, her aunt, someone named Pam I didn't even know. I glanced at the screen at a red light. "Jerry, please come back. It was a mistake. What's going on? Dorothy is crying. This is embarrassing. Fix this." I turned the phone off and kept driving. What I didn't know, what I wouldn't find out until later that night, was that those few minutes had been enough. Enough for her mother to pull her aside and demand an explanation. Enough for guests to start whispering. Enough for someone to realize the whole exchange had been caught on video right there in the background of the videographer's opening shots. Enough for the dominoes to start falling, and I was already halfway home. I made it home by 6:30. The house in Cuyahoga Falls felt different when I walked in. Bigger somehow, emptier. I dropped my keys on the counter, loosened my tie, and poured myself 2 fingers of bourbon. Sat on the couch in my suit, staring at nothing. My phone was still off. I wasn't ready for the flood yet. Around 7, I powered it back on. 43 missed calls, 62 text messages, 3 voicemails. I scrolled through them without opening any, watching the names blur together. Dorothy dominated the list, but there were others too. People I barely knew suddenly invested in my personal life. I was about to turn it off again when a new message came through. Not Dorothy, not family. Russell, my son. Dad, you need to call me. It's important. I stared at those words for a long moment. Russell and I talked regularly, but he never texted like this. Never urgent, never cryptic. I hit dial. He picked up on the first ring. Dad? Hey buddy, what's going on? There was a pause and I heard him moving, a door closing. When he spoke again, his voice was lower, careful. I need to tell you something about Dorothy. My chest tightened. I'm listening. Another pause, then quieter still. I recorded something at the wedding before you left. I sat forward. What do you mean recorded? Russell exhaled, and I could picture him in his apartment, trying to figure out how to say this. I wasn't invited to the wedding, right? But I was in Canton anyway, helping Tyler move some furniture. Tyler's mom knows Dorothy's cousin, so we ended up at the venue helping set up chairs. Okay, I said slowly. I saw you and Dorothy arrive. I was going to come say hi, but then I saw her talking to some guy near the side entrance before the ceremony, before you even got to the reception table. My pulse kicked up. What guy? I don't know his name. Tall, maybe 40, wearing a gray suit. They were standing close, Dad. Real close. She was laughing, touching his arm, that whole thing. He paused. So I pulled out my phone and started recording, just in case. In case of what? In case you needed to know. His voice was steady now, sure. I recorded for maybe 3 minutes. She kissed him, Dad, right there behind the hedge wall. Not a peck. A real kiss. Then they talked for a bit and he said something like, "See you at the reception." And she laughed and said, "Act natural." I couldn't speak. The bourbon glass was cold in my hand. Russell kept going. I didn't know what to do with it. I almost deleted it. But then Tyler's mom told us what happened at the reception table. How you walked out and everyone's freaking out. And I thought maybe you should see this. Send it to me, I said. You sure? Send it. 30 seconds later, my phone buzzed. I opened the video. There she was, my wife, in that dress I'd watched her zip up that morning, leaning into a man I'd never seen before. Their voices were faint but clear enough. The kiss lasted 4 seconds. When they pulled apart, she smoothed his lapel, said something I couldn't hear, and they both laughed. I watched it twice. Then I saved it to 3 different places. Dad, Russell's voice pulled me back. You okay? Yeah, I said, though I wasn't sure that was true. Thank you for telling me. What are you going to do? I looked around the living room, at the throw pillows Dorothy had picked out, the coffee table I'd assembled, the life we'd built on assumptions and broken promises. I'm going to fix this, I said, legally. Sunday morning I drove to Cleveland. Linda's law office sat in a restored brownstone near the flats, the kind of neighborhood where people paid extra for history. I'd been there exactly twice before, both times for paperwork related to Russell's custody arrangement when I divorced his mother years ago. Walking through that door again felt strange, like stepping backward and forward at the same time. Linda Harrison was waiting in her office, blinds half drawn against the morning sun, coffee already going cold on her desk. Linda looked the same as she had 3 years ago when we'd finalized our amicable divorce. Sharp eyes, no-nonsense haircut, the kind of woman who didn't waste time on pleasantries when there was work to do. Gerald, She gestured to the chair across from her. Sit. Tell me everything. I did. The wedding, the introduction, the video Russell had sent me. I pulled out my phone and showed her the recording, watching her face stay perfectly neutral as Dorothy kissed a stranger behind the hedge wall. When it finished, Linda leaned back in her chair and folded her arms. You sure you want to do this? Once we start, there's no going back to normal. Normal's already gone, I said. I want to protect what's mine. She nodded slowly. Okay, first question. What assets are we talking about? I'd made a list the night before. Couldn't sleep, so I'd written everything down on a legal pad at 2 a.m. The house in Cuyahoga Falls paid off, worth about $290,000. The business property where Crawford & Sons operates, valued around $480,000. My retirement account's sitting at just over $180,000. And there's something else, Linda raised an eyebrow. Go on. I've been moving money, started about 18 months ago after Dorothy kept pushing to refinance the house and put both our names on the deed. Something felt off about how eager she was, so I opened a separate account. Been transferring small amounts every month, nothing big enough to trigger alerts. It's at about $75,000 now. Smart, Linda made a note. Anything in her name? Her jewelry business. I loaned her $35,000 to start it 3 years ago. No paperwork, just a handshake. She's been saying she'll pay me back, but it never happens. We'll get that back with interest. Linda tapped her pen against the desk. What about the house? Is her name on the deed? No, I bought it before we got married. She's been living there, but legally it's mine. Good. The business property? Same thing. My name only. Never added her. Linda smiled, thin and professional. You just made my job significantly easier. Here's what we're going to do. Tomorrow morning, I'm filing paperwork to establish a trust. Summit Holdings, LLC. Everything you own goes into it. The house, the business, the retirement funds, all of it. You'll be the sole beneficiary and controller. She won't have legal claim to any of it. How fast can we do this? If we move now, 72 hours. But Gerald, you need to understand something. Once she finds out, and she will find out, this is going to get ugly. She'll fight, she'll lawyer up, she might try to claim common law interest or financial contribution. Let her try. I kept my voice level. I've got records of every deposit, every payment, every transaction. She contributed nothing to those properties except living in them. Linda studied me for a moment, and I saw something shift in her expression. Respect, maybe, or recognition that I wasn't the same man who'd sat in this office 3 years ago. All right, she said. Let's get to work. We spent the next 4 hours going through documents, bank statements, property records, building a case that was less about attacking Dorothy and more about protecting what I'd built. By the time I left her office, the sun was high and harsh, and I had a folder full of papers that would change everything. My phone had been buzzing all morning. I finally looked at it in the parking lot. 23 new messages, most from Dorothy, increasingly desperate. We need to talk. This is ridiculous, Jerry. You're overreacting to a mistake. I love you. Please come home. I deleted them all without responding, started my truck, and headed back to Akron. There was nothing left to say to her. The lawyers would do the talking now. Monday morning, I went to work like nothing had happened. Walked into the construction office at 6:30, same as always. Checked project schedules, talked to the crew supervisors, kept my head down and focus sharp. Nobody asked about my weekend. Nobody mentioned the wedding. Either they didn't know or they were smart enough not to bring it up. Around 10 o'clock, my phone rang. Dorothy. I let it go to voicemail. She called again at 10:15, then 10:30. By 11 o'clock, she'd left 4 messages, each one escalating from confused to angry to something that sounded close to panic. I didn't listen to any of them. At lunch, I drove to First National Bank on Market Street and asked to speak with Margaret Wells, the branch manager who'd handled my accounts for 15 years. She knew me, trusted me, and more importantly, she understood discretion. Gerald. She shook my hand, led me to her office. What can I do for you? I need to pull records on a transaction from 3 years ago. A cashier's check I wrote to Dorothy Peterson, now Dorothy Crawford, $35,000. Margaret nodded, pulled up her computer. Business loan? Personal. Startup capital for her business. She said she'd pay me back within 2 years. Never happened. Do you have documentation of the loan terms? No, it was verbal. Margaret's expression didn't change, but I saw the flicker of concern. That complicates things. Without a written agreement, it's your word against hers. I know, but I need the transaction record anyway. Date, amount, memo line if there was one. I'm building a case. She typed for a moment, then turned her monitor toward me. There it was. September 18th, 3 years ago. Cashier's check number 8847. $35,000 made out to Dorothy Peterson. Memo line, business startup loan. I wrote that, I said, pointing to the memo. That's my handwriting on the original request form, right? It is. Margaret printed 2 copies, handed them to me. Gerald, if you're going through a separation, you need to freeze any joint accounts immediately. We don't have joint accounts. I never set them up. She looked relieved. Good. That's going to save you a lot of headaches. But you should know, if she has access to any shared credit cards or lines of credit tied to your name, she could run them up out of spite. I hadn't thought of that. What do I do? Cancel them. Today, before she thinks of it. I made calls from her office. 3 credit cards, all in my name, but with Dorothy listed as an authorized user. I canceled her access on all of them, effective immediately. The representatives asked if I wanted to close the accounts entirely. I said yes. By the time I left the bank, Dorothy had called 6 more times. I drove back to the construction site, parked in my usual spot, and sat there for a minute staring at my phone. Then I opened her last text message. What did you do, Jerry? The credit cards aren't working. I typed 1 sentence and hit send. Talk to your lawyer. Then I blocked her number. That evening, Linda called. The trust paperwork's filed. As of 4 p.m. today, everything's locked down. The house, the business, all of it. She can't touch any of it. How long before she finds out? She probably already knows something's wrong. The credit cards would have tipped her off, but official notification. She'll get a letter from my office by Wednesday. Good. Gerald, one more thing. That $35,000 you loaned her. I did some digging. Her jewelry business is registered as an LLC, and according to her tax filings, she's been reporting income but not declaring where the startup capital came from. That's a problem. What kind of problem? The kind the IRS doesn't like. If she took $35,000 and didn't report it as a loan or a gift, she's been underreporting her tax liability for 3 years. I can file a whistleblower report if you want. It won't get your money back directly, but it'll put pressure on her to settle. I thought about that. The image of Dorothy kissing that man behind the hedge, the casual way she'd erased me at the reception table, the $35,000 I'd given her in good faith. Do it, I said. Wednesday evening, I was in the kitchen reheating leftover pizza when my phone rang. Unknown number, Akron area code. I almost didn't answer, figured it was another one of Dorothy's attempts to get through, but something made me pick up. Hello? Jerry? A small voice, tentative. It was Carol, Dorothy's daughter. 11 years old, sweet kid who loved science projects and asked me to help with her math homework every Tuesday. My chest tightened. Hey Carol, you okay? I'm at my friend Beth's house. She paused and I heard voices in the background, someone telling her to hurry up. I needed to tell you something about my mom. I set down my beer, moved to the living room. What about her? She's been seeing someone, a man named Lloyd. He came to our house a bunch of times when you weren't there, like after school sometimes, or on Saturdays when you were at work sites doing estimates. Lloyd. Not the man from Russell's video, but another name entirely. My jaw clenched. How long has this been going on? I don't know, maybe 6 months. Dale thinks it's cool because Lloyd has a motorcycle and takes him for rides. Her voice dropped even lower. But I don't like him, Jerry. He's mean to Mom sometimes. I heard them arguing last week about money. What did they say? Lloyd said Mom owed him something. She said she was working on it. Then he said something about our deal, and she got really quiet. Our deal. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. Carol, where's your mom right now? She's in her room crying. She's been crying since yesterday when some lady came to the door with papers. The trust documents. Linda had sent a courier to deliver them personally. Listen to me, I said carefully. I need you to know something. What's happening between your mom and me, that's grown-up stuff. It's not your fault, and it's not about you or Dale, you understand? Are you leaving us? Her voice broke slightly, and it gutted me. I'm not leaving you, Carol. Your mom and I have problems we can't fix. But that doesn't mean I don't care about you. You can still call me if you need help with homework, okay? Okay, she sniffled. Jerry, there's something else. Last week I heard Mom on the phone with someone. She was in the garage, but I could hear her through the window. She was talking about the business. She said something like, once we sell it, we can split the money and get out. The business. The construction company worth nearly $500,000 that Dorothy had zero legal claim to, but apparently thought she could sell anyway. Did she say who she was talking to? No, but it sounded like the same guy. Lloyd, I think. I closed my eyes, pieced it together. Dorothy had been planning this. The affair, the sale of property that wasn't hers, some scheme with a man I'd never met. The wedding introduction wasn't a mistake or a slip of the tongue. It was part of something bigger. Carol, you did the right thing calling me. Thank you. Are you mad at me? Not even a little bit. You're a good kid. After we hung up, I immediately called Linda. She answered on the second ring, sounding tired. It was almost 9 p.m. Gerald, what's wrong? We've got a problem. Dorothy's been planning to sell the business. She's got a boyfriend, guy named Lloyd, and they've been discussing splitting the money. Linda was quiet for a moment. That's attempted fraud. If she tried to forge your signature or sell property she doesn't own, that's criminal. What do I do? First, I'm calling the county recorder's office first thing tomorrow morning. We're putting a lien on that property so it can't be sold without your explicit written consent. Second, I'm adding this to our documentation. If she's conspiring to commit fraud, that strengthens our case significantly. There's more, I said. According to Carol, this has been going on for at least 6 months. And there's another man besides the one from the wedding video. This isn't just an affair, it's a pattern. Even better for us, Linda said grimly. Worse for her. Give me everything you can. Names, dates, details. I want to bury her so deep she won't see daylight for years. I should have felt bad about that, about destroying the woman I'd married, the mother of 2 kids I'd grown to care about. But all I felt was cold, focused determination. She'd tried to steal from me. Now she'd learn what it cost. Thursday afternoon, I got home from the construction site to find a pickup truck in my driveway. Ohio plates, rusted around the wheel wells, the kind of truck that had seen 30 years of honest labor. I didn't recognize it until the driver's side door opened and Vernon Sullivan climbed out, Dorothy's father, 69 years old, retired electrician from IBEW Local 8, the kind of man who fixed things with his hands and didn't waste words. I'd met him maybe 10 times in 4 years, mostly at holidays. He'd always been polite but distant, like he was reserving judgment. Vernon, I said, walking up the driveway, what brings you here? We need to talk. His voice was rough, tired. You got a few minutes? I unlocked the front door, let him in. He stood in the entryway, looking around the house like he was cataloging every detail, then followed me to the kitchen. I offered coffee. He shook his head. I'll stand, thanks. He pulled an envelope from his jacket pocket, set it on the counter between us. This came to my house yesterday from some law office in Cleveland. I recognized Linda's letterhead before he even opened it. Notice of lien, Vernon said flatly. On a property at 1247 Industrial Drive, filed by you through your attorney, preventing any sale or transfer without your written consent. That's your business, isn't it? That's right. He looked at me hard. Dorothy told me you two owned it together, said you were planning to expand, maybe bring Dale in as an apprentice when he got older. She lied. The words hung in the air between us. Vernon stared at me for a long moment, and I saw something shift in his face, not anger, but something heavier. Disappointment, maybe, or recognition. There's more, he said quietly. She came to me 3 weeks ago, asked me to co-sign a loan, $50,000, said you two were having cash flow problems with the construction business, needed bridge financing. I signed the papers because she's my daughter and I trust her. My blood went cold. What loan? What business? Her jewelry thing, she said it was growing, needed new equipment, more inventory. He pulled another paper from the envelope. This is the loan agreement, due dates in 18 months. If it's not paid, they take my house. I took the paper, scanned it. First National Bank, $50,000. Vernon Sullivan listed as primary borrower, Dorothy Crawford as secondary. The collateral was Vernon's house in Barberton, a small ranch-style place he'd paid off 20 years ago. Did she tell you what the money was for, specifically? New equipment, marketing, business expansion? Vernon's voice was flat. But that's not what it was for, is it? I don't know, I said honestly. But I can find out. I pulled out my phone, called Linda, put it on speaker so Vernon could hear. Gerald, she answered, I need you to pull records on a business loan taken out by Dorothy Crawford 3 weeks ago. First National Bank, $50,000. Her father co-signed. His house is collateral. Linda was quiet for a beat. Give me an hour. While we waited, Vernon sat at my kitchen table, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. She's my only daughter, he said after a while. Her mother died when Dorothy was 16. I raised her alone, worked double shifts to put her through community college. I thought I did right by her. This isn't your fault, I said. Isn't it? He looked at me. Maybe I let her get away with too much, made excuses when she messed up. Her first marriage, the way that ended. I blamed the guy, told myself Dorothy deserved better. Now I'm wondering if I saw what I wanted to see. My phone rang. Linda. You're not going to like this, she said. The loan was approved 2 weeks ago. The money was dispersed last Thursday. I pulled her business account records, public filings. None of that money went into her business. It's gone. Gone where? Withdrawn in cash. $10,000 on Friday, another 10 on Monday, the rest yesterday. All from different ATMs around Akron and Canton. Vernon's face went gray. There's more, Linda continued. I did some checking. Lloyd Martinez, 38, lives in Barberton. He's got a history. Fraud charges in Michigan 5 years ago, settled out of court. Currently unemployed. And Gerald, he's been posting on social media about a big score coming soon. Posted a picture yesterday of a motorcycle he just bought. Brand new Harley. $15,000. I looked at Vernon. His hand was shaking. She gave him my money, he said quietly. My house. She gave it to some guy on a motorcycle. We're getting it back, I said. All of it. Linda's voice came through the speaker, hard and certain. I'm filing fraud charges tomorrow, criminal and civil. Vernon, you'll need to file a police report as well. Identity theft, fraudulent misrepresentation, the works. Vernon stood slowly, looking around my kitchen one more time. Then he looked at me. I'll testify against her. Whatever you need. She doesn't get to destroy people and walk away. 3 months later, I sat in a Summit County courtroom watching Dorothy's attorney try to salvage what was left of her case. It wasn't going well. Linda had built something airtight. Bank records showing the $35,000 loan to Dorothy, complete with my handwritten memo. Russell's video of her kissing a stranger at the wedding. Carol's testimony about Lloyd Martinez and the conversations about selling the business. Vernon's fraud charges and documentation of the loan she'd taken in his name. The judge, a woman in her 60s named Diane Foster, had the kind of face that had seen every lie the legal system could produce. She wasn't impressed. Ms. Crawford, Judge Foster said, looking over her reading glasses, you're asking this court to grant you a share of property you never legally owned based on what you claim was an implied agreement of partnership. Is that correct? Dorothy's attorney, a young guy named Curtis Phillips, who looked fresh out of law school, stood up. Yes, Your Honor. My client contributed to the household, raised children, supported Mr. Crawford's business. Did she contribute financially to the purchase of the house? Phillips hesitated. Not directly, but did she contribute to the acquisition of the business property? No, Your Honor, but the marital partnership was 4 years long, Judge Foster cut him off, during which time Mr. Crawford maintained separate ownership of all major assets, established a legal trust, and has documentation showing loans totaling $35,000 that were never repaid. She set down the papers. I'm not seeing a partnership here, counselor. I'm seeing someone who lived in someone else's house and now wants half of everything. Judge Foster looked directly at Dorothy. Ms. Crawford, I'm ruling in favor of the defendant. You have no claim to the house, the business property, or Mr. Crawford's financial assets. Furthermore, I'm ordering you to repay the $35,000 loan within 18 months, with interest calculated at 6% annually. Failure to comply will result in wage garnishment. 6 months after that courtroom victory, I stood in my kitchen making breakfast while Russell sat at the counter reviewing construction bids. He'd moved back to Akron that spring as my business partner, and the house felt different now, full, right. Carol came down the stairs for her weekend visit. Morning, Jerry, she said, grabbing toast. Linda arrived to pick up partnership documents, stayed for coffee, then we sat on the porch watching the sunset. You're different than you were a year ago, she said quietly. lighter somehow. I got rid of dead weight, she smiled. Good metaphor. It's the truth. I spent 4 years carrying someone who was planning to drop me the whole time. Linda reached over, took my hand. For the record, I'm glad Russell wanted to partner with you, not just because it's good for him, but because it means I get to see more of you. I squeezed her hand. That a professional opinion, counselor? Completely personal. We sat there as the sky turned purple and gold, and I thought about how far I'd come from that wedding reception table. From a man who'd said, "Actually, I'm just an ex," and walked away, not knowing what came next. I knew now. It was this: second chances, better choices, a life built on honesty instead of assumptions. Here's what I learned. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them. And when they try to steal what you've spent a lifetime building, make sure you're prepared to protect it. Trust your instincts, document everything, and never let anyone convince you that your hard work doesn't matter.